So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Today we welcome you back here at BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Thursday, September 10th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. I know I did. Hopefully you did as well and is having a good day so far today. Excellent day for sports. Football is finally back. The NFL will start up their season tonight, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in just about pretty long time from now. But tonight is football. That is the fact that everybody has to be hearing. Tonight, there will be a live NFL game on. That is just, even though it may not be my favorite team, it may not be the Jets, it's not, I've never been this excited to watch a football game ever. Meaning watch a football game besides the Jets, watch two teams that are not my favorite teams. I'm very excited for tonight's game. I'm not a Chiefs fan, nor am I a Texans fan. I'm a Jets fan. But what I'm trying to say is I've never been this excited to watch a Thursday night game that is involving two teams that I'm not a fan of. Meaning I don't hate the Chiefs or the Texans. I'll root for the Chiefs. I rooted for the Chiefs all the way through the playoffs, and I'll root for the Texans, every so often. I'll pick them and stuff like that for my game picks. But the team that's not the Jets, I've never been this excited. So tonight, we are starting up an NFL season unlike any other as the Kansas City Chiefs get ready to play up against the Houston Texans. Should be a lot of fun. It's going to be very, very, very fun. I'm excited. Hopefully you are. We'll be covering it all today on this podcast. Everything's a high today. Yankees won yesterday, finally. Chiefs play today. Miami plays today. All that good stuff, all coming up on the podcast. Islanders did lose yesterday. Tough one, 2-1. They now fall 2-0 in the series in their Eastern Conference Final to the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we'll talk about that game as well. But today is mainly a football podcast as we started off today. We have the NFL Power Rankings. I will give you my personal Power Rankings. I did not do all 32, but I gave you my top 10 teams. And, at the end of the season, we could pull it out, kind of say how bad either my picks were or how good my picks were. I'll tell you what. My picks for the MLB, you'll probably make fun of me when I pull those out at the end of the MLB season because I had the Washington Nationals at the number 4 team, I think, and they're probably at the moment one of the worst teams in the league playing-wise right now. They're not playing well at all. So we have on this list, we got my top 10 teams. There's a lot of areas where I could definitely, or toss-ups, or definitely toss-ups, but I'll talk about all that coming up on the podcast. Then we have the Chiefs versus Texans. I'll highlight that game, give you the defenses, offenses, quarterbacks, the battles. Fantasy football, I'll tell you who you could start, who you shouldn't start. I'll tell you that kind of just to give you kind of a broad view of that. Now we have the Yankees, Mets, Islanders, and the Miami Hurricanes versus UAB game also tonight. And I have a little bit of a struggle. I'll probably watch the Yankees game comes on at there. The Yankees game comes on at 7. I'll probably watch the first hour of that game. Then maybe switch over to my phone for the Miami and UAB game, and then put the Kansas City game on TV, and it's going to be difficult. I'm definitely watching the Chiefs game, though. I definitely will watch that, just depending on what will be my phone choice to watch on my phone or whatever. But, going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to really see what the NFL looks like. That was the same thing with the MLB. I was very excited to see what the MLB looked like. I was very interested to see what the college football looked like, what NHL looked like, what when I was watching the NBA, what they look like. Now I'm excited to see, this will be the final test, what the NFL looks like. I have an odd feeling, and I know a lot of people might agree with me, I have an odd feeling it's going to look a lot like baseball. They're in their own stadiums. They're not in a bubble. They're people wearing masks. I have an odd feeling it's going to look a lot like a MLB. No fans, maybe tarps over some of the stands. I mean, the Chiefs have fans tonight, but you follow what I'm saying. Most of the NFL, no fans, tarps over the seats, masks on, not many, kind of just go out there, play a game, and be done with it, right? I think that's going to be what a lot of it looks like. And also, I want to hear what the noise looks like, or noise sounds like, because you're going to have to pump in artificial crowd noise with the NFL. So, a lot to look forward to. But today is my first game pick of the NFL season. That is coming up later on in the podcast. As my second topic, I will give you my first game pick of the 2020-2021 NFL season. My first game pick. Tomorrow, I will do the rest of the league except the Monday night games. I'll do those on Monday, but tomorrow I'll give you all my Sunday games and that good stuff there. So a lot of sports to get to. I got to quit talking about the intro and let's get right into it. So this is the BSN podcast and let's get right into it. So the NFL Power Rankings, NFL plays tonight. First game of the 2020-2021 season. I've been optimistic this whole time. I'm going to just tell you straight up. I've been optimistic this whole time. Ask people I know. Ask, everybody. I've been optimistic this whole time that the NFL would be able to play a season. I didn't know if it was possible without a bubble. I said I would feel way more confident with a bubble. That's not the case. Obviously, the NFL knows what they're doing. The NFL had very great test results back. Now, you want zero tests. That's your whole goal. You want no tests. You want absolutely no tests. No test positive mean. You want zero positives. The NFL yesterday, they got released back. They're like 5,000 something tests. One was positive, which means one person out of every NFL team, every NFL player, coach, trainers, people like even the trainers, just people within the team, reporters, all that stuff. Only one of them test positive, which you want zero tests. You want zero positives. Obviously, you don't want to have one. One's too many. You want it. That's really your whole goal. But the fact that there was only one positive test out of those many tests is very promising news, because that means that goes to show you how it can control the virus, how it can control teams not getting it. In a contact sport, this will be the most difficult to keep the season alive. I think this season will be able to keep alive. I think, the whole, Roger Goodell's plan and everything like that involving the virus protocols, I think they're all in place. I think all the players are following them well, which is why I'm going to tell you that I'm very confident going into this season. I'm confident that this season will happen. I am very confident. I think that this season will happen, and I think it's going to complete. Now, does that mean there might be some odd things? Sure. If a team has an outbreak, you might see an NFL game on a Wednesday or a Tuesday. You might see some interesting things happen. You might see a Friday game. You might be able to see some interesting things happen within the NFL. So you just have to, be prepared for those little curveballs that this virus is going to throw at you, because this virus has thrown many curveballs at all of us. So you're going to have to just be prepared for that. So there might be some weird things that happen throughout this NFL season, but the fact that there's a football back, the fact that football's on, without fans, no fans, masks on, mask off, whatever the case may be, it is football. Even though it might look a lot different, and that's what they said, it's going to look a lot different, it's going to sound a lot different, it's football, period. You could still, the fact that you're watching football, the fact that we're watching live sporting events is perfectly fine with me. If it means that there's going to be no fans, sadly there's no fans. I love going to a sporting event and watching it, but, it's what it is at the moment. Personally, I think fans can be allowed into the stadium. It's worked very well in other sports. If you've seen it in college football, it's just happened on Saturday, but we don't really know if any of those fans tested positive. I think they have anything under control. We'll see how the NFL does. Chiefs tonight will be the first team to test out with fans, because they're going to have the first game and they're playing home, and it happens at Arrowhead Stadium will be allowing fans. So, it's going to be a lot of fun, but that's kind of just wanted to get out of the way early. This is going to be an odd football season. People don't realize, and that's what I've had to kind of train myself to it too. We talk so much about, we talk a lot about the fact that, just looking at a football game, be like, oh, this is going to be a huge game. You hear all this, you see all these highlight reels and stuff, but you got to come back to reality. That's not going to be the football we're used to seeing. There's going to be no fans. The broadcasters will probably be in their own studio. They probably won't be at the stadium. They very well could be, but I don't know. The MLB broadcasters, they don't travel with their team. For example, the Yankees Network, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network, they stay at Yankee Stadium. They don't travel. When they're home, they're happy that they're at Yankee Stadium. When they're away, they have to look on monitors and stuff. They don't travel with the team. So that could very well happen with the NFL. I'm sure it probably will. So the announcers, you probably won't be in stadium. So things are going to be different. That is what I'm trying to say. So yes, the NFL is back. It's going to be a lot different, going to look, sound, and feel different. But the fact that the NFL is back, people thought that the NFL was going to have to start in like October, November-ish. The fact that they're starting on time, is great. So the NFL is back on, which means every year, every sporting league, I do my power rankings. So here are my top 10 teams. I don't do all 32 because I'm not a big fan of doing all 32. First off, I have about an hour to do a podcast. I could do it for technically 2 hours. I could sit on here and blab all I want about sports. But I usually try to keep it to 1 hour. First off, viewers. Does somebody really want to sit there and listen for a 3-hour video? It's kind of tough. If I post a video at 12 o'clock and you're watching until 3 o'clock, you're kind of like, it's a long video. So I usually try to keep it within, and usually that's usually what I do anyway. I'm not really a person to be talking for 5 straight hours. I wouldn't really do that. But if you follow what I'm saying, I don't really do all 32 teams. I just don't. I really kind of just keep it to top 10 because I like to zone in on those top 10 teams. Like, number 32 team would probably be the Jaguars or the Redskins or something like that. Do I really care? Like, oh, no, the Redskins finished 25th, right? I kind of like to really see what happened with my top 10 because you're beginning of the season, you're looking at top 10 like, these are your top 10 teams. These are your teams that you sit here and you know for a fact these are teams that almost every top 10 team has at least a shot at winning a Super Bowl. Because then your top 10 teams are your number 5 team, your top 5 teams are the teams that you're like, okay, this team could very well win a Super Bowl. This team, Super Bowl contender. Your top 10, I wouldn't so much say if they're Super Bowl contenders, but your top 10 could definitely playoff teams. These are definitely going to be playoff teams. Top 5 is usually your Super Bowl contenders. I'm going to spoil it. I put Kansas City Chiefs at number 1. For example, I'm just going to make up a random team. Let's just say, team number 1 was, team number 1, team number 2. Let's just say team number 1 was ranked number 1, team number 2 was ranked number 2. Team number 2 still has a very good shot at winning a Super Bowl. You kind of just go like that. So that's how I usually do my rankings, and I like to see what happens. Sometimes I like to see if I'm accurate, and sometimes I like to see how wildly off I am. If I had a team as the 5th best team in the league and they finish 3 games under 500 and at the end of the power rankings they're sitting 25th in the league, sometimes you kind of laugh and it'd be like, wow, I really had this team as a top 5 team. So it's definitely interesting to pull it out and see what all happens. But some of these, like I said, these are kind of just a brief one. Like I said, I would definitely change some things depending on how the season. I know this would not be the complete power rankings, but let's get into it. With all that being said, let's get right into it. So number 10 team I have is the Green Bay Packers. I know a lot of you people are surprised by this one. Like I said yesterday, I think the Green Bay Packers are not the number 2 team in the NFL. I think that's outrageous. I don't think that's correct. I would disagree with that. Although I would say, though, the Green Bay Packers probably are a top 10 team. You're talking about a team that was 1 game away from making the Super Bowl last year. You're talking about a team that went 13-3. You're talking about a team that almost has the same exact roster as that 13-3 team. I understand Aaron Rodgers is going into a year of what's going to happen. It's kind of a questionable year. Is Aaron Rodgers going to play all these games? What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that. Is Jordan Love going to take over? Blah, blah, blah. I know it's kind of one of those years for the Green Bay Packers. It could very well be a year for them to go 10-6, or it could very well be a year for them to go 4-12 because there's just so much commotion about Rodgers and Love and who's going to get the starting job. What's going to happen to Rodgers? Is this going to be his final year? All this stuff going on. Even Rodgers just came out and said so many times on shows that he knows what the Green Bay Packers are doing. It is what it is. He knows that the Green Bay Packers are going to eventually turn it over to Jordan Love. He just doesn't know quite when, but they're eventually going to turn it over to Jordan Love. So that there's definitely times there where you could say, oh, well, these guys are going to get absolutely drilled. But I'm going to sit here and say no, because I think they have the same exact roster as last year. In my opinion, they still have Devontae Adams, Valdez-Scantling, Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers. And their defense is still very good. You got a couple quality guys on defense. You did lose Blake Martinez, who was one of your big leaders on defense, a middle linebacker. You lost him to the New York Giants. But you still have Smith. You still have a couple of guys around that edge of that defense. Still a couple guys at the cornerback. You still have Jair Alexander. You can make the argument it's a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. There's a lot of good guys on that defense. The Packers have a loaded roster. Rodgers, Jones, Devontae Adams, Scantling. You got Jair Alexander, Smith, right? You got a lot of good guys on defense, not even on just the defensive side of the ball, but you also have guys on the offensive side of the ball. There's multiple sides of the ball on that on this team that's very good. That's why I would say I put them as a top 10 team. Same coach, almost the same roster, lose a couple players here and there. That's going to happen, but overall, pretty much the same roster that got them to an NFC Championship game last year. So I think they are number 10. I was debating on putting the Cowboys in here, but, the Cowboys have not proven me to put them as the top 10 team in the league. They have a roster to be a top 10 team in the league, but they haven't proven much. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, they're all Byron Jones, DeMarcus Lawrence. Their defense is unbelievable. Their offense is unbelievable. Here's the problem with the Cowboys. They have not been able to they have not proven themselves quite yet. That is the one problem with me, and that's why I didn't put them in. Even though they have Mike McCarthy now, I still didn't put him in. Packers have proven themselves. Number 9, Minnesota Vikings. I know this might change a lot of you guys, but here's my thing. You lost Diggs. You still have Rudolph. You still have Thielen. You still have Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins isn't the best, but he could throw the ball decent. He's not anything special. He's not anything that I would completely take, oh my gosh, this guy's an MVP. He's not that. He's average. He's good. He's got good receivers that make him look better. Yes, they lost Diggs, but definitely that could actually benefit them from losing Diggs, because Diggs was a little bit of a head case last year, but I'm actually leaning more towards the Stephon Diggs side, because Diggs kind of got cheated out there. Thielen came on out of the middle of nowhere, and everybody just said, oh, throw it to Thielen, throw it to Thielen, throw it to Thielen. As for a guy that on Diggs that has, almost helped, that is almost the reason this franchise is that good. He kind of just got to be like, all right, who cares, Diggs? We don't really care that, you saved us in the Minneapolis Miracle. We don't really care about that anymore. We got Thielen now. Diggs kind of just got, ran out of there. They kind of told Diggs, here's your equipment, here's your jersey, take whatever you want, and you can leave, right? I was on Diggs' side for a while there. I think Diggs will do pretty good up in Buffalo with the Buffalo Bills. We should see what he does week 1 against the New York Jets. But I think what I'm trying to say is with the Vikings situation is, right, they have a very good running back. They have a very good receiver. They have a very good tight end. They have an average quarterback. They have a pretty good offensive line. Their defensive line is pretty good. I think there's a lot of parts of that team that you could really say, okay, this team, this is their strength. Their strength is probably definitely their offense and defensive side of the ball. I think their defense is very good. I think it's underrated. You have Anthony Barr, Everson Griffin, players like that. They're very good. Your offensive side of the ball, you have, or Kendricks even on the defensive side of the ball. Your offensive side of the ball, you got Thielen, Rudolph, you got Kirk Cousins, you got Dalvin Cook, right? As long as those guys can stay healthy, then you're talking a team 10-6, 11-5. So I have the Vikings number 9. Number 8 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now I know I talked about the Cowboys with the proving themselves, but the Buccaneers I think have better players than some of the Cowboys. Right? I think Brady's better than Dak. Maybe not at the moment, but overall. Brady's overall a better quarterback than Dak. I mean, Brady's probably one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Dak's not. Dak hasn't completely proven himself yet. But I think I think the Buccaneers, they have Godwin, Mike Evans, Gronk and Brady are going to be interesting. Then you have Leonard Fournette. Now you still have Ronald Jones. You still have a lot of quality guys on that offensive side of the ball. The reason I'm putting the Buccaneers at number 8 is because I think you look at the skill. This is definitely a team that could absolutely blow up. This is a team that could go one of two ways. Either one of two ways. It's not, there's no in between. There's no, this team's going to go 9-7. This is either a team that's going to go 12-4, win the division, and just absolutely jolt into the playoffs, happy and all that. Or this is a team that is going to go 5-11. People are going to question why in the world they took Brady, and they're just not going to be good. This is not going to be a team they're not going to finish 9-7. Mark my word, I don't think they will finish 8-8. I don't think they're going to finish an average 9-7. This is either going to be a team that goes 12-4 or they finish 4-12. There's no in between. Personally, I think they're more on the 6-10, 7-9 slide without Leonard Fournette. Now, I personally think they're probably 10-6 maybe. 10-6 maybe. But I don't think there's anywhere like an 8-8, maybe a 9-7. I could see a 9-7, but I don't foresee them being like an 8-8, a 7-9. I either see it being like a 10-6 to a 12-4, or like a 5-11 to like a 4-12. I don't think it's gonna be anything. Hey, we finished 500. That's decent. I don't think it's gonna be that. I think it's gonna be one or the other. So number 8, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 7, I know this might confuse a lot of you, but I have the Houston Texans. Here's my deal with the Houston Texans. They were winning against the Chiefs 24-0 in that playoff game. Yes, they didn't hold on, but they almost have the same team, minus DeAndre Hopkins, which is a huge hole. You are adding David Johnson. You still have Deshaun Watson. You still have Will Fuller. You still have a quality offensive line. Your defense is solid. J.J. Watt, a couple other players surrounding him. You still have a good team. I put them in front of the Buccaneers because they've proven themselves already. They've proven they can get to that next level. They've proven Deshaun Watson's proven that he's a top 5 quarterback. Right? You know, David Johnson's proven that he could be named as a very good running back in the NFL. I mean, he has. David Johnson's not a bad running back. I'm personally not starting him tonight in fantasy. I'll tell you why in the next topic in just a little bit. But you understand what I'm saying. I think Deshaun Watson's still a very good quarterback. I think Will Fuller's an ant receiver, but I think he can make things happen. When you have a good quarterback and an average receiver, that average receiver can sometimes become a good receiver because of their good quarterback. So I think that kind of happens. But Deshaun Watson's been very good. And I think, too, Deshaun Watson's kind of taken over that leadership role a little bit. I think it's kind of been like, all right, I'm without Hopkins. I've got to show myself. I got to show that I can still ball. I got to show that I can still do without him. You know, Hopkins was good and everything, but he's in the past, right? I have to show people that I can still do it with Will Fuller and not the best receiver in the NFL. Number 7, Houston Texans. That's one other thing. I think he's coming into the season with chip on the shoulder. I think a lot of people think the Texans are going to... I've heard a lot of people say the Texans aren't going to make the playoffs. I think everybody thinks DeAndre Hopkins was the reason they made Watson so good. So I think Watson's coming in here with a little bit of that different energy than all these other people kind of trying to show him, like, I could do it without the best receiver in the NFL. Number 7, Houston Texans. Number 6, this might make you guys all go a little crazy, Buffalo Bills. Okay, I have very big belief in this team that this team's going to do good things this season. I said this to many people I know. My close friend of mine is a very big Buffalo Bills fan. I have them going 11-5, 12-4, winning the AFC East easy. They go into the playoffs. What I love about this Buffalo Bills team, I mean, they have talent everywhere. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown, Devin Singletary. I think I already said Josh Allen, right? Their defensive side of the ball. Jerry Hughes, right? Tre'Davious White just signed that big contract. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. I mean, you're talking about a stacked team. You're talking about them getting almost probably maybe a top 10 receiver in the game in Stephon Diggs. You're getting a very good slot receiver in Cole Beasley. You're getting a fast guy that can run straight up the field and catch the ball in John Brown. You have a good running back, in my opinion, that's going to have a pretty good career ahead of him in Devin Singletary. You have Josh Allen, who may be only behind Mahomes. Mahomes has the best arm in the NFL. He's just got to work on the accuracy a little bit. And from what I've seen in highlights at training camp, to Diggs, to Brown, to Beasley, I think the accuracy has been better a little bit. I think also Diggs is probably the best receiver, so even, he might make Josh Allen look a little bit better than what he is. So what I'm trying to say is he's just very, very, very good. This is a team that I really believe could be stellar. Stellar. A team that I really believe could do big things within the next 2-3 years. Maybe, I wouldn't so much say Super Bowl, but maybe AFC Championship game, things like that. They keep adding on, getting a little bit of that better run defense. You're talking a team very well going 12-4, 13-3 for the next 2 seasons. This year, I think the Bills are going to be a very good team. I'm a little worried for week 1, but, it is what it is. I'll give you my game pick tomorrow on the podcast. So, number 6, Buffalo Bills. Number 5, the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers, I get it. They made the Super Bowl. I get it. Shanahan, Garoppolo, Deebo Samuel, Raheem Mostert, Nick Bosa, Richard Sherman. I get it. I was surprised too. George Kittle. I can't forget about him. I get it. Here's why a lot of people have the Niners as the second best team in the NFL. I personally don't think so. I still am waiting to see if this Niner team is legit. Okay, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this because a lot of people hate, this team went to a Super Bowl. How can you not say they're not legit? Well, look at their roster and you'll understand why. I don't think this team's very, very good. Deebo Samuel, average. Jimmy Garoppolo, average. Richard Sherman's very good. Nick Bosa, very good. George Kittle, very good. But 70% of this team is average players. And I think talking about some of these other teams that I'm going to tell you, they have so many players that I feel like this is a Niners team that it's either going to erupt or it's going to, it's either going to be a team that's going to go 12-4, 13-3 like last season, or it's going to be 3-13. Because I think those average players last year, Raheem Mostert, right, Deebo Samuel, Jimmy Garoppolo, they perform big time. This year they perform like they're normal. You're talking 6-10. You're not talking 13-3. I don't think Garoppolo is all that good of a quarterback. The reason they got to the playoffs was because an unproven running back and Raheem Mostert really just dominated. And you can't say that he's going to have another great season because we've heard nothing about him until last season. So I'm telling you this straight up. I have them as a top 5 team in the NFL, but I don't believe they're number 2. They have definitely some very good players. They have Nick Bosa, you could say is probably the best defensive end in the NFL. You could say Richard Sherman's one of the better cornerbacks. They have a good defense. They have a very good defense. Don't get me wrong. They have a good head coach too. There's just too many average players on this team that if they perform like they are average, like their normal performance, it ain't that good. So San Francisco 49ers number 5. I think 49ers are going to be definitely a team 2 on this list that I think could move a lot. I think they could very well be up to 2. I think they could very well fall to 8. I think they could very well drop out of the top 10. There could be a lot of things that happen with this team. That's why I kind of put them at number 5, like in the center. I feel pretty safe with this. Like even if they drop, it's going to be somewhere around there. So I put them number 5. I think they're slightly in front of the Buffalo Bills just because the Buffalo Bills haven't proven much yet. The Niners have proven they can get to the Super Bowl, so that's why I put them in front of the Buffalo Bills. Number 4, I have the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, there's not much else that has to be said about this team. What really helped me propel this team ahead of the Niners and things like that was one of the biggest signings all this offseason in Jamal Adams. I think Jamal Adams is going to be very good over there. Jamal Adams, Shaquille Griffin, I think Bobby Wagner's still over there. You still got, Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson. Players like that on that team are just very good. You're talking about a team that is a quality team. Almost every single year they're making the playoffs. You're talking about probably the 3rd best quarterback in all of the league, Russell Wilson, or very well the 2nd best quarterback in all of the league in Russell Wilson. You're talking about a guy who's been to the playoffs so much, knows what it's like. I have the Seahawks at number 4. The reason I have him at number 4, one of the big moves that really helped propel them was probably that Jamal Adams move. I think Jamal Adams is going to be stellar in Seattle. He's going to do just what he did with the Jets and maybe even better because I think he actually wants to be there. As for the Jets, I don't think he really wanted to be here, so that might even give him more motivation. Like, I'm on a championship contender. As for the Jets, he was on a team that's going to finish 3rd or 4th in the division every single year. So if you follow what I'm saying, I think he could very well go off of that field. Seahawks, number 4. Number 3, New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints, in my opinion, have a top 5 quarterback, a top 5 receiver, and a top 5 defense. Seahawks have a top 5 quarterback. I wouldn't say they have a top 5 receiver. That's what's propelling that's what's propelling the Saints over the Seahawks. Jared Cook, tight end. Michael Thomas, top 5 receiver. Drew Brees, top 5 quarterback. And their defense, top 5. Seahawks could very well have a top 5 defense, but I would say, and the Saints, when he's healthy, top 5 running back. Seahawks, I would not say Carson's a top 5. I'd say Carson's top 10, not top 5. So that's what's propelling me, Jared Cook, Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, great offensive line. Cam Jordan, probably one of the better defensive ends in the league, right? Top 5 defense, top 5 receiver, top 5 quarterback, top 5 running back when he's healthy. As for the Seahawks, top 5 quarterback, top 5 defense, don't have a top 5 receiver or probably top 5 running back. Chris Carson is probably top 10. So that's what propels me. Saints, number 3. Number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I think they have the 2nd best quarterback in the league. I think they have Mark Andrews a top 5. I think they have a top 5 quarterback, top 5 receiver, or top 5 tight end. I think they have a top 10 running back, and I think they very well could have a top 5 defense as well. This is a quiet, very good Ravens defense. I have Marcus Peters back there as well. Judon, you have a couple very good players around them. Lamar Jackson's going into his redemption year, I think. You have Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram is very good. And you have Lamar Jackson, and you have a very good offensive line. I think that's what propels me over to this team as well, as also Saints haven't been able to get to that NFC Championship game since the Rams. The Ravens haven't either, but the Ravens have proven themselves they can go 14-2. They've proven that they can win their division. Same thing as the Saints, but I just believe the quarterback situation at the moment and the running back situation. I think, Kamara is very well going to have a good year, or he's going to have a year like he did last year. As for the Ravens, I think they have one of the most reliable running backs in all the NFL in Mark Ingram, who is a former Saint. So, Ravens number 2. And my obvious number 1, I think this is one of the most obvious number 1s in a long time, I have as the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are number 1 on my list. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Defense, Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Jones. Players all over the place. Best quarterback in the league. probably could be top 5 receiver. I mean, you're talking Super Bowl champion, defending Super Bowl champions. I mean, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Kind of easy to tell you why I put them at my number 1 team. So, not much explanation. I don't have to hear too much explanation there as they are the Kansas City Chiefs. So, that is my power rankings. Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Houston Texans, Buffalo Bills, San Francisco 49ers, Seattle Seahawks, New Orleans Saints, Baltimore Ravens, and Kansas City Chiefs round out the top 10. So, that is my power rankings for the 2020 NFL season. Now, this could very well change. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But I'm going to take this list, put it over here, and we'll see what happens. And at the end of the season, I'll pull this list out and kind of see. It's pretty cool to see what I thought at the beginning of the season and what actually is the case at the end of the season. So, we'll see. In my opinion, all top 10 of these teams could be playoff teams. That could very well not be the case. 3 of these teams could be playoff teams. So, definitely going to be fun to see. But we have. I think it's obvious that the Chiefs are number 1. That's why I didn't give him much of an explanation. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, kind of period. There's not much else has to be said about the Chiefs being number 1. So that is what I got for my NFL power rankings. With all that being said, next up I will give you my first game pick and a fantasy overview. I'm going to give you who I think you should start today, who I think you should sit. Tomorrow I have NFL game picks and all-around fantasy starters, sitters, players you should sit, players you should start, players that are sleepers, players that is kind of your choice, things like that. So that's all coming up right after this break. We'll be back. All right. So, now we move into, I'm going to kind of give you my or should I give you my game pick first? Anyway, I don't know. I'll give you my fantasy. So, fantasy football has started back up, as you all know, and also tonight is the first NFL season game. So, let me just give you a quick overview of what I'm going to do within the rest of this podcast and tomorrow's podcast, just so then you know what's kind of coming. So right now I'm going to talk about the Chiefs-Texans fantasy football. Tomorrow will be a packed football day. I mean, it's going to be game picks / Jets preview. I usually do a little bit longer of a preview on the Jets because I talk about them a lot and they're my favorite team. Then on Monday, just tune in, Giants fans. If you're a Giants fan and you're watching this, it's not that I'm skipping. Monday I don't do, on Friday I don't do my Monday night game picks. Monday I do my Monday night game picks. Thursday I do my Thursday night game picks. I don't do them all on Friday. Just how it is. I just find that it also gives me something else to talk about on Monday too. So, and also gives you guys something else to look forward to on Monday. So I usually do my Monday game picks on Monday, and then all my Sunday game picks I do on Friday. So Friday, tomorrow will be game picks / the Jets game preview. And then I'll do my fantasy football, sitters, sleepers, players you should start, Yankees, Mets, Islanders, and I'll probably review the Miami UAB game. And also tomorrow, before I do my game picks, I usually just talk quickly about what happened in the Thursday night game. So that will all be coming up tomorrow. So, but with all that being said, today we have our first game of the season, which means our first fantasy football action. So tonight I have Deshaun Watson starting, Tyreek Hill playing, and that's it for my one league. So this is my one league that I kind of told you, 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 league, I'll call this. So I have Watson playing, projected 21.4 points, and I have Tyreek Hill playing, projected 10.9, rounded up to 11 points. So I'm confident that Watson will probably give me 15, 20-ish, and I'm confident Tyreek Hill will give me a touchdown and maybe like 13, 14 points, I'm confident. So if that happens, I come out of today with like a 34-point lead. My opponent, on the other hand, I don't know if they have anyone tonight going. They have Travis Kelce. My opponent has Travis Kelce going tonight. I would assume Kelce will probably have around, he'll probably catch a touchdown. He'll probably have like 9, 10, 11 points-ish. So I could very well, if everything goes my way, I should probably be winning like 34-11. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be. Players I would recommend starting: Deshaun Watson, Tyreek Hill. Even though Watson's going up against the defending champions, I mean, he didn't have a problem with them last time. Their defense isn't their strength of their team. It's their offense that's the strength. So I would say go with Watson here, and Tyreek Hill too. I mean, Tyreek Hill, there's no reason why we would want to bench Tyreek Hill against the Houston Texans. There's no reason. So I would say start Watson, start Tyreek Hill. As for my other league, this is my team. These are my players I got tonight. I have Harrison Butker. No reason to bench him unless if you have Justin Tucker or somebody else that's in front of him. If you have Harrison Butker starting, although you should technically have only one kicker. I don't carry two kickers, so I have Harrison Butker in my other league. I would start him. Watson, I would start. Tyreek Hill, I would start. Any other players that are playing tonight that I just don't know about. Actually, this is actually what I should do. So let's go Chiefs and see if anybody's on like waivers. So Chiefs defense, I don't know if I would. It really all depends. Chiefs defense, if you have Chiefs defense, it really all depends on who your other defense is. I usually carry two defenses. If your other defense is like a Buffalo Bills or like a Steelers defense, I would probably not start Chiefs because I think this is going to be a shootout. You'll hear my game pick in just a little bit. I will tell you my game pick, and my game pick's a pretty high scoring game. I personally think this will be a shootout. That's why I personally have one team winning. Hint, hint, because I think they're gonna win it if it is a shootout. Let me look at any Texans players in my league. There's mainly Texans defense. Wow, so every Texans player that's like good is here. So Texans defense is why I would not recommend playing them either. I would not recommend playing Chiefs defense or Texans defense. Chiefs defense is if it's your own defense and your other defense is like Jets or Broncos just have a big hole and losing Von Miller now, I would probably start Chiefs. But I think it's going to be a shootout. So I would probably just recommend just sitting here and just telling you straight up, just don't start either defenses because I think it's going to be a shootout, in my personal opinion. But start my lineup. I have Watson and Hill. I would say recommend starting them. So that is kind of my fantasy outlook. Not much for Thursday. It's one game. As for tomorrow, I will give you a ton of players you could start, sit. I'll kind of run through my whole lineup, tell you why I'm starting them, tell you why you should start them. That's kind of what tomorrow's a lot. I mean, if you haven't watched my podcast before, you know Fridays, I call them Football Fridays. I mean, they're really just all football news. So with all that being said, now it's finally time to give my game pick. So tonight is, in fact, the first game of the NFL season. A lot of fun, and it is time to give you my first game pick. Both these teams are very good. I'm going to run through quickly and kind of tell you what I'm thinking. Okay, the Chiefs are coming off of a Super Bowl win. Best quarterback in the league in Patrick Mahomes, top 10 receiver, and top 15 defense. I think Chiefs defense isn't top 10. They might be within that 15-13 range. Maybe even 20 to 16 range, somewhere around there. I wouldn't say their defense is anything special. It's definitely improved last year. If Chris Jones can stop David Johnson, that's going to be big. Will Fuller, I forgot about him. Will Fuller, do you start Will Fuller? It all depends on who's on him. I would like to know who's on him. If I could look at the coverages. Really all depends on projections, because I think Watson's going to target Will Fuller a lot. He's your number one. Although in my league personally, I would not start Will Fuller. If I was on my team, I would probably not have Will Fuller starting. Will Fuller, I would probably have for example, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, and Tyreek Hill starting over Will Fuller. Will Fuller personally for me would be a backup, but that also depends on my draft. You could have drafted Will Fuller because you could have easily been in a 12-person league where it's harder. But I would so much say Will Fuller is going to be interesting. Will Fuller could definitely be interesting. But what I'm trying to say is that there definitely are some strengths of both teams. There's definitely some strengths, weaknesses of both teams. I think I think that shows big time here. But the fact that the Chiefs are getting 9.5, the Chiefs are 9.5 favorites for this game. That means a lot of people have them winning. The current odds are the Chiefs 9.5. The over-under is 53.5, which is actually kind of agree with. Let me see what my pick is. Let me see what my pick is really quickly. Over-under is 53.5, I think. Let me see what my pick is. I already wrote my pick down for today. I just want to see what my score was. By the way, if I don't get the score correct, I still count it as a win. I just put down the score as just the thing. So my pick was... I'm actually saying over. It's going to be over 53.5 points. And I say that in the 9.5, I think it's going to be over 9 points this game. So 9.5 will be the thing. So it's 9.5. They have the Chiefs at a 57% chance of winning, or you winning the bet is 57% chance the Chiefs and 43% chance the Texans. So obviously the Chiefs are the favorites, the Texans are the underdogs. There's no other way of saying it. So the Chiefs are 9.5 favorites. The over-under is 53.5. I have it being over. I'm taking the over on the 53.5. I think, like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a shootout. The Chiefs have a powerful offense. Texans have a powerful offense. Neither team's defense is overpowering, but they have good defenses, but nothing to really, I think, match up with their offenses. That's why I think it's going to be over the 53.5. So with all that being said, tonight, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, NBC. This is my first game pick of the year. I am taking the Kansas City Chiefs in Game 1 of the NFL season. I'm going to take the Chiefs 35-24. I think the Chiefs put up 35. I think Mahomes might go off 2-3 touchdowns and then hand it off to their running back. I think he's going to be throwing a lot. But I have them covering the 9.5. I have them winning by 11. 35-24. I have the Chiefs winning. Like I said, if I get the score wrong, it still counts. I just put down the score. I don't always put down the score. Tomorrow on my game picks, I'll probably just tell you who wins, and I'm not going to give you the whole score. So usually I'll give you the score for the Monday night games and the Thursday night games and the Jets games. But the other games and the Giants games, but the other games, I usually just tell you who's going to win because I usually do the score by the spread and how many points the team score and stuff. That's how I usually do the score. And the defenses, so I'm not going to do that for every single game. So the score, I only do the score on special occasions. Sometimes I just forget about the score and I just give you my game pick. So if I get the score wrong, then, it still counts as correct. So my first pick is the Kansas City Chiefs winning 35-24. The over on the 53.5, I actually have it as 59 points because 35 plus 24 is 59. So I have it technically at 59 total points scored this game. I have the Chiefs winning by 11. So I have the over on the 9.5. I have the Chiefs winning by 11. And I have the over on the 53.5. So that is what I got. My first game pick of the year is going to the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sure that did not surprise many of you, as I did just put them on my number 1 power rankings. I would probably not take... as the Texans are number 7, I would not pick a number 17 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Not that I'm saying the Texans are bad. It's just it wouldn't make sense for me to have the Chiefs as the best team and all of a sudden predict them to lose week 1. So I'm sure you expected that coming, but I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning Game 1. So hopefully tomorrow when I do a pod, I'm sitting here at a 1-0 record overall, which would be nice. And then Sunday will probably when my record gets messed up because more than likely I won't get every single game correct. That's just how it is. But anyway... First game tonight, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NBC. Get that correct, people. NBC. Usually Thursday night games are on Fox. Since it's the first game, usually they go off of NBC prime time. So 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, NBC. So tune in if you want to watch that game. Chiefs, Texans, going to be a fun game. Hopefully Chiefs win, obviously, because that means if they win, then I get my game pick correct. So first game pick of the season out of the way. Pretty good. I think I feel pretty confident about this one. Like I said, a lot of people are like, but you have Watson on your team. Yeah, I have Watson. I want Watson to have a good game, but I want Watson to have a good game, but I think all in all the Chiefs are going to win. It's not the fact that I'm not rooting for Watson. I want Watson to have a good game. I think the Chiefs are going to win, I just think so. And obviously I want Hill. I'm rooting for both teams on offense. It's hard because Hill, I want to have a good game, but in my other league, my opponent also has Tyreek Hill, so I don't want him to put up like 25, and all of a sudden me in my other league be down probably like 25 to like 8 because I have my kicker going tonight in my other league, and being down 25 to 8 and be like, oh gosh. So I kind of want him to have a good game, especially with my one league. I have my quarterback, and he'll probably give me like 20, so I'll be satisfied only if like Hill gives me 6 or 7, to be honest. But anyway, so LeMahieu, but I think Hill will have a very good game, to be honest. I think he'll roast. I don't think that secondary is all good. Like I said, neither of the defenses are overpowering, but they're good. I think the offenses are over. I think both offenses could be overpowering at times. That's why I think it's a shoot. I think the Chiefs' offense is the most overpowering. So the Yankees won yesterday, 22-21 on the season. They had 7 runs, 7 hits, no errors. Blue Jays 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Quick before I start, did you guys see that Braves game? The Braves won yesterday. They scored 29 runs. Absolutely crazy. 29 runs. I was reading a stat. I think it was each player on the Braves of that starting lineup had a hit. At least one hit and an RBI, I think. At least one hit and one RBI. It's crazy. So, Braves won yesterday, obviously. But the Yankees won yesterday. That's more important. Yankees absolutely played well. This is the best I've seen the Yankees play in a good 2 weeks. So, good to see the Yankees back on a good note. LeMahieu went 1 for 3 with 2 runs, 2 walks, and an RBI with a home run. Voit went 1 for 5 with a run scored and an RBI. Hicks 0 for 3 with 2 runs, 2 walks. Frazier 2 for 4 with a walk and a RBI. Torres 2 for 5 with a run scored and 4 RBIs. He had that home run early on in the game, which was big. Andujar, for the first time in a little bit, went 0 for yesterday. He went 0 for 5. Gardner went 0 for 3 with a walk. Sanchez went 0 for 3 with a walk. Wade went 1 for 4 with a run scored. He had a nice line driver up the middle. Davey Garcia got the win, pitched an amazing game. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Britton, 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned, no walks, no strikeouts. Chapman, 1 inning, no hits, no earned, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Yankees finally win, avoid going under 500 as they win 22-21 on the season. I say they pick up the win today against the Orioles as the momentum's riding high. They said the locker room's really fired up now about that win, so hopefully they carry that momentum into tonight's game. So I have the Yankees winning. Still disappointing Yankees. Still think they should be a lot better than what they are. But it is nice to see them finally get a win. Wouldn't believe I'm saying that after they start off 8-1 that I'm actually happy that they just won one game. So, but anyway, either way, they got the win. That does everything. It doesn't really matter. So, the Mets won yesterday against the Orioles, 7-6. They moved to 20-24 on the season. Mets had 7 runs, 10 hits, no errors. Orioles 6 runs, 14 hits, 1 error. The Mets had Brandon Nimmo went 0 for 3. Conforto 1 for 3 with a run scored and RBI. J.D. Davis 0 for 3 with a run scored and a walk. Dom Smith 2 for 4 with a run scored. Cano 1 for 4 with an RBI. Guillermo went 0 for 0. Alonso 3 for 4 with 2 runs and RBI. McNeil 2 for 3 with a run scored, a walk, and 3 RBIs. Jimenez 1 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI. Chirinos went 0 for 4. Porcello went 4 innings, 10 hits, 5 earned, no walks, 3 strikeouts. He's really struggled as a Met so far in this season. Shreve went 1 1/3, 2 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Hughes 0.13, no walks, no hits, 1 walk, no hits, no earned, 1 walk, 0 strikeouts. Wilson 1 1/3, no hits, no earned, no walks, 1 strikeout. Familia 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned, no 1 walk, no strikeouts. Diaz 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned, no walk, 1 strikeout. Mets got the win yesterday. They moved to 2024 on the season. They won yesterday 7-6. And they play the Blue Jays tomorrow, so I will preview that game then. The Islanders took another tough loss yesterday. They were tied the whole game. Then late, the Lightning scored a goal, 2-1. They lost. So they lost 2-1. They move 0-2 to end the series. They play tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll preview that game then. Found themselves in a hole early here. Miami plays tonight as well. Very excited about that. They play against UAB tonight. I have the Miami beating them big time. I think Miami's going to have a pretty good season. I have Miami winning against UAB tonight. I wrote down the score as well. I just have to find it. 42-17. I have Miami winning big time. I think Miami's offense is going to be explosive with Derek King at quarterback. It's going to be excited. So I hope the Miami wins this game. I say they win this game. Even though UAB's 1-0 already and played good in their first game, I still say Miami wins this game. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got Miami winning. 6-1 on my college game picks. I've been pretty successful so far. 6-1 college game picks. So I would tell you the truth. I've been pretty successful so far with those, so not going to lie with that. As for the Yankees, I want to go back to the Yankees game yesterday because there was a big thing that I noticed, and we scored more than 1 run. What did I say? You score more than 1 run, you're going to win the game. I mean, you score at least more than 5 runs, you should be able to win. That did not happen earlier on in the series as their bullpen blew it. They scored 7 and lost 12-7. But the fact is, the Yankees scored more than 7 runs. And they only allowed 2. See, that's the fact. Yesterday, they allowed 2 runs, or 2 days ago when Hat pitched, he allowed 2 runs. They lost that game. Allowed 2 runs again, they win. Showing you, their pitching's not the problem. It's been their hitting. So finally now, their hitting comes around and they win. They only had 7 hits still. They haven't really gone 10 hits in a long time, but they only had 7 hits. But fact is they won. So tonight they play again. Hopefully they get that win as well. 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time they play against the Baltimore Orioles, and hopefully the Yankees can win this game as well. So exciting. I mean, we have Yankees on, Miami on, Chiefs, Texans on. Packed Thursday night for sports. Gonna be exciting to watch it. I'm really amped for the. I just can't wait for it to start. I just can't wait for it to start. It's almost to the point now where I'm just waiting. Like I'm just keep on looking at the phone. Like, what time is it? What time is it? I can't wait for the game to start. Gonna be exciting to watch that. And obviously the Yankees game as well, Miami as well. So gonna be fun. Hopefully you enjoy this podcast. Tomorrow will be my full game picks for all the Sunday games, and on Monday I'll preview those games then, like you all know the drill. So, yeah, with all that being said, that's what I got for the podcast. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you can, I don't know if you want to, slip maybe your NFL power rankings down in the comment section. Maybe not even your top 10, top 5, because I know sometimes, when you're watching the video, you might want to comment on other stuff, and that could take up some time. So if you can, give me maybe your power rankings. I would like to see them, and I'll try to respond to them if you do, and tell you if I agree, why you think that, and stuff like that, and pretty cool. So with all that being said, that's what I got for the podcast today. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.